House Speaker drama took yet another sort of unbelievable turn today with the Republican Party's latest Speaker nominee abruptly throwing in the towel just hours after he'd won a majority closed-door vote among his conference. And while many on Capitol Hill are focused on the dysfunction and what happens next, and et cetera, I'm interested in talking about how the lead vote getter got forced out so quickly. The answer seems pretty clear. Donald Trump. This morning, Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer, the House Majority Whip, the third highest ranked official in the Congress, won on 5 straight ballots over 7 opponents in a closed-door vote of the Republican conference. And on the final vote, getting a majority of the conference on his side. And for a fleeting moment, it seemed like maybe Republicans are going to come together and unite behind him. But then early this afternoon, Donald Trump delivered the death blow, denouncing Emmer on social media with a scathing post, quote, "He never respected the power of a Trump endorsement or the breadth and scope of MAGA, Make America Great Again. He fought me all the way and actually spent more time defending Ilhan Omar than he did me. He's totally out of touch with Republican voters. Voting for a globalist rhino like Tom Emmer would be a tragic mistake." And that was all she wrote. Trump posted that message to Truth Social shortly after 2 p.m. Eastern. By 5, Emmer dropped out of the race. It was seemingly a swift, unmistakable reminder of the grip Donald Trump has on the Republican Party. And let's be clear, this was a calculated move by Trump to lower the boom, humiliate Emmer, and remind everyone that he is running the show in the GOP. Yesterday, he made it seem like he was going to stay out of the speaker's race. He didn't mind if Tom Emmer prevailed.
I think he's my biggest fan now because he told me yesterday, and he told me I'm your biggest fan, so I don't know about that. Well, we're looking at a lot of people, and, I'm sort of trying to stay out of that as much as possible, but they'll get it straightened out. But no, I've always gotten along with him.
Donald Trump never stays on the sidelines of something important like this, and if the Republican Party ever needed a reminder of the iron fist with which he rules the party, it seems that they sure got it today. But joining us now is someone who knows a lot more about the political landscape than do I, Blake Berman, moderator of The Hill and chief Washington correspondent for NewsNation. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. So am I overstating Donald Trump's role? I mean, there were a bunch of what were called never Emmers, right, who were in the Republican conference. Was this not as much about Donald Trump, or was it?
Well, look, I mean, and those in Trump world were making it known that Donald Trump was no fan of Tom Emmer. And it was interesting, you played that moment yesterday when Donald Trump officially filed in New Hampshire. He sort of made it seem like, okay, I'm going to stay out of this. Remember, he at first backed Jim Jordan, and Jim Jordan couldn't clear that bar here at 217 for Republicans. So it seemed like Trump was going to just sort of say, let things unfold. But then when it became clear here today that Tom Emmer was not going to get anywhere near the level of support, Trump came in and let it be known that he was no fan of Emmer. And you're right, it just goes to show that whatever happens here, Donald Trump is going to be, I don't know if it's safe to say the kingmaker, but whoever ends up getting this nomination will have to have the support and approval of Donald Trump, because clearly Tom Emmer didn't have it. In Trump world, they were letting it be known to us that Donald Trump didn't support Tom Emmer, and we saw what happened today. I think it was, give or take, 250 minutes today, Dan, in which Tom Emmer had the support from House Republicans. Yep. And then it sort of went, poof.
Well, you mentioned what Donald Trump said yesterday after court at the New York civil trial. This is what he said late today about Emmer just a short while ago.
Tom Emmer, it looks like he's finished. He was not a supporter. He was a rhino. And it looks like he's finished, but we'll see. You never know.
You never know. He's finished.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it's not going to be Emmer, and it just highlights the problem here for Republicans, which is if you embrace Donald Trump, those who are in the swing districts have a problem.
Yeah.
If you do not embrace Donald Trump, you have a problem with conservatives because you're not embracing Donald Trump.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.